Welcome into NFL Draft by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and the topic of today's show are 10 draft prospects in this year's 2025 NFL Draft class that I think have a chance to be round one surprises and be taken on night one of the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay in just under a month from now. Before we get into the content today, predict it for me to kick off today's show. What player will surprisingly be taken in round one this year? Who's going to be your round one surprise this year? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. So we'll start with the quarterback that I think could be a surprise to some people on night one. Now, I personally have Tyler Shough out of Louisville with a round two grade. All right, we'll talk about some of the reasons why I have Shough as a round two quarterback and not a round one quarterback. But as we know, with the quarterback position, sometimes teams tend to get desperate. So we can take a look at Shough's profile here in his scouting report, and I think that his film is a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for, especially because they haven't really heard his name because the Louisville Cardinals were not particularly a fantastic football team last year. But when you watch the film, you watch how bad the offensive line was at Louisville last year, how bad his wide receiver core is. I mean, Ja'Cory Brooks was his number one receiver there at Louisville last year. He's draft eligible. He may not even be taken this year in the first 7 rounds. He's probably going to be a UDFA for some NFL team out there. So he did not have a lot of help around him. But I think that has kind of prepared him for the adversity that he is going to face in the National Football League right away. I think that he arguably has the best mental processor of anybody in this class, maybe other than Shedeur Sanders or Kyle McCord. He's right up there. He goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And because he was under pressure so much, he had to get through his progressions extremely quickly. Also, his arm talent is extremely underrated as well. He can throw from a bunch of different arm angles. I would say, putting it on a grading scale in terms of NFL arm strength, I think he has an A- arm in terms of the strength of it for an NFL quarterback. And then the fact that he can throw from off platform and has the arm flexibility to throw it from 3/4 or even sidearm is certainly something that you like to see. I really like his clean and quick mechanics as well. His footwork is very clean. He's always lined up to his target, which is something that you look for. And then he has a very quick and repeatable throwing motion, which makes him one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL draft this year, in my opinion. And then talking about mental processing, there's kind of 2 aspects of the intelligence level of the position. There's the mental processing. There's the ability to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and get through your progressions. And then there's anticipation, the ability to use your post-snap processing to understand what the defense is throwing at you and release the football to a wide receiver who is not out of his break yet. Guys like Shedeur Sanders and others in this class struggle with anticipation. Tyler Shough has anticipation all over his film, which is something that points to NFL readiness, at least in my opinion. Also, he's got some of the best touch on his passes, both to the intermediate and deep levels of the field, which leads to some really great deep ball efficiency. Now, at Louisville, there's at least 2 or 3 times per game when you watch him on film where he puts a perfect dime down the field with beautiful touch to his wide receiver, and they end up dropping the pass. So it's a very frustrating film to watch because Shough has so many impressive throws on his tape that just end up getting dropped by his wide receivers. He's also very used to pressure. The pressure rate last year was astronomically high because of that terrible Louisville Cardinals offensive line he had to deal with. And because of that, he's had to learn how to recognize the blitz. He's one of the best in this class at recognizing the blitz. And then that offense that he operated there at Louisville was actually a pro-style offense. So he was responsible for making checks. He was responsible for changing the play at the line of scrimmage. He was in charge of setting the protections pre-snap. So he is very much used to pro-style progressions and then also the pre-snap responsibilities that he's going to have as an NFL quarterback from day one. Now, just because he has pretty good film, and I would argue it might be the second best film overall out of any quarterback in this year's class, that doesn't mean that Shough doesn't come with his share of negatives and red flags. The first red flag is his age. He's going to be 26 in September for this season, all right? So he is ancient, compared to some of the other quarterbacks in this class that are 22, 23 years old. He played in college for 7 years. He had a COVID year, and he also spent 3 years injured. Okay, he broke his collarbone twice, and he broke his fibula, very serious injury. So those injury concerns are also something that teams need to take into account as well. And then another thing that is a bit of a red flag is the pressure management that we saw from Tyler Shough at Louisville. Now, he was under pressure a lot, but you look at the numbers when he was in structure and when he wasn't pressured versus when he was pressured, the numbers go down pretty significantly, all right? So although I think that he handled pressure on film about as well as you could have asked him to, there was a lot of quick interior pressure in his face that there really wasn't a lot of opportunities to make plays from. It is worth noting that from a statistical perspective here, his numbers go down very significantly when he gets under pressure. So my pro comp for Tyler Shough is a more talented Mac Jones, who, by the way, was a first-round quarterback, all right? Now, you're not seeing Mac Jones throw from a three-quarter angle or a sidearm pass like we'll see from Tyler Shough. I think Shough's arm is a lot more talented than Mac Jones, plus Shough is a lot more athletic. Shough ran a 4.64 40-yard dash time, which is very good for a quarterback at the NFL Combine this year. Obviously, Mac Jones is not running that 4.64, all right? So I think that Shough is a much better version of Mac Jones in terms of his overall physical gifts and talents. But like Mac Jones, when he was coming out of Alabama, he gets through his progressions very quickly. He's got a very repeatable and very smooth throwing motion. He plays with good footwork. All the things that you see from Mac Jones is also applicable to Tyler Shough. So take that first-round talent and Mac Jones, who a lot of people wanted to be taken number 3 overall to the San Francisco 49ers in that draft class, over to Tyler Shough, who's even more talented than Jones was physically. And I think that when you look at Shough's profile, I'd probably take him in round 2 because I think that his upside might be a little bit limited, but at the same time, he's a really good player. He's got excellent tape, in my opinion. There was a lot of film last year where his teammates just simply let him down, and I think because of that, the numbers are not as stellar as some of the other quarterbacks in this class. But I think if you turn on the tape, you'll be very pleasantly surprised with what you see from Tyler Shough. And all these teams that need quarterbacks are watching that film. So I do think that there will be some teams out there that will consider taking Tyler Shough relatively early in the NFL draft. And if they are pushed to a position where they feel like they got to have a starting quarterback on day one, I think Shough might be the most pro-ready quarterback in this entire class. He's 26 years old. He's got a lot of experience, and then I think his ability to mentally process defenses, the ability to throw with anticipation, the clean, fluid mechanics, both in his lower and upper body, all those different things contribute to him being somebody that a team maybe in late round 1 would say, all right, let's go get him and let's get that extra year on his rookie contract. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. How many quarterbacks will be taken in round 1 this year? I think most people are expecting 3 right now with Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and Jackson Dart. But could Tyler Shough be the 4th quarterback that sneaks into round 1? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our friends today at PrizePicks. And while I'm talking about PrizePicks, get down there in the comment section and let me know how many quarterbacks are going to go in round 1 this year. And with that said, we're from our friends at PrizePicks here. And PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action all on your phone all throughout the NFL offseason. Join over 10 million members and sign up today. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. And with baseball right around the corner here, opening day is just a couple days away here, folks. You guys can get your PrizePicks in for opening day. This is my PrizePicks projection. I've already locked it in. I'm taking the more on strikeouts for Zach Wheeler. I'm taking the more on hits, runs, and RBIs for Jackson Chourio. And I'm taking the more on Garrett Crochet pitcher strikeouts as well. So you guys can get your opening day lineups in right now by downloading the PrizePicks app today and using code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup when you download the PrizePicks app today. PrizePicks, run your game. So there are some running backs here that I think could potentially fit their way into round 1. Quinshon Judkins, Kaleb Johnson, and then TreVeyon Henderson are the 3 running backs that I think could potentially find homes in round 1. Now, the reason for this, guys, is because I think that they all can fit into certain buckets of players that teams will look to as potential star players. I really love the floor that Quinshon Judkins brings to the table because of all the different attributes he brings to the table. Size, vision, acceleration, long speed. He really does have it all, and he can fit into a bunch of different rushing scheme. So if there's a team that really wants a running back in round 1 towards the end of the first, I think Judkins is somebody that a team might take a chance on. Kaleb Johnson out of Iowa, I think is more scheme specific. If there's a team that runs a lot of outside zone and really loves them, cough, cough, Pittsburgh Steelers, could we see a surprise and see Kaleb Johnson as early as round 1? I think he's a terrific fit for the black and gold there in the Steel City. I would personally, as the Steelers host, rather see them get Kaleb Johnson in round 3, but they do really want a star running back, and if they believe Kaleb is that player, I could see Kaleb Johnson being a potential surprise in round 1. And then TreVeyon Henderson is super explosive. You know, he's somebody that has got incredible acceleration and long speed. He's a big play waiting to happen. In my personal opinion, I think he should go on day 2 because I don't love his vision on tape. I think he doesn't choose the right lane to run through consistently enough, and he needs to do a better job of that at the next level if he's going to realize his star potential. But because that superstar potential is there, there's definitely a possibility that some team takes a chance on that potential in round 1. So out of these 3 running backs here, which one do you think is the most likely to be taken in round 1 this year after, of course, Ashton Jeanty and Omarion Hampton? Most people expect those 2 to be locks for the first round, but there might be somebody else that sneaks their way in. Type QJ for Quinshon Judkins, KJ for Kaleb Johnson, or TH for TreVeyon Henderson. Then there's another 3-pack of players here I want to talk about at the wide receiver position. We got Alec Amainer out of Stanford, Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State, and Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. Now, Amainer is one of the only receivers that I have seen go up against Travis Hunter throughout the course of an entire college football game and straight up dominate him, all right? Like, he is a big receiver who ran in the 4.4s at the Combine this year. He's got phenomenal hands. He's a great route runner, very fluid athlete for his size, and I think that he is going to be somebody that is going to be very cherished in the NFL draft this year, either in the late first round or in the early second round. Same thing goes for Jaden Higgins. Watch out for Jaden Higgins and the Seattle Seahawks, by the way. They got Jackson Smith and Jigba. They've got Cooper Kupp. Neither one of those guys is a true X receiver. Jaden Higgins is, and he is such a fluid route runner at his size. He's really good in terms of the contested catches down the field as well. Watch out for Jaden Higgins working his way potentially even into the top 20 in round 1. And then we get to Trey Harris here, guys, out of Ole Miss. And this is somebody that I think is getting slept on a lot because, you know, they just put the, oh, he's just a deep threat kind of label on him. And he is a deep threat. He is a big body that makes, over 60% of his contested catches, which is phenomenal. But he's also, I think, faster than people give him credit for. He's a great blocker. He's great after the catch. And just to show you guys how impressive his profile is, in half of the games played last year compared to the person that many people expect to be the first wide receiver taken this year, Matthew Golden, played in half the games that Golden played in last year and had more catches for more yards. He had more than double the yards per game and had nearly the same amount of touchdowns, all right? So when I look at a guy like Trey Harris, you know, he wasn't asked to do a whole lot at Ole Miss. He was asked to do slants and goes and posts and, you know, comebacks and do that kind of stuff. But although I think that he might not be the most versatile route runner in the world, I think he's more than capable of running digs, on comebacks, on the different stuff that you ask your X wide receiver to do. And if there's a team that particularly wants an X wide receiver that's going to win contested 50-50 balls down the sideline, somebody that's going to be good after the catch, super physical and hard to bring down after the catch, somebody that's going to really give it their all as a run blocker as well, Trey Harris might be a very surprising round 1 wide receiver in this year's NFL draft class. Then we shift to the defensive side of the ball here. Darius Alexander, one of my Sperry psychos this year out of Toledo. He had a phenomenal Senior Bowl in Mobile where he was the star of the show of the defensive lineman, in my opinion. And he is somebody that has great versatility. He can line up at the nose tackle at 310 pounds. He's a phenomenal run defender, but he's also got the pass rushing finesse and explosiveness to be your starting 3 technique. And I think he's got the movement ability and the quick feet to be able to be your 5 technique at a 3-4 defensive end alignment. So I think that Darius Alexander is a really, really good prospect, guys. And if he ends up going in late round 1, I will not be surprised by that whatsoever, but you might be. Then the final thing here, the final position I want to talk about is cornerback. And 2 guys that I could see potentially sneaking into round 1 are Trey Amos out of Ole Miss. Phenomenal tape. Maybe not the best athlete in the world, but plays with phenomenal technique, both in man and in zone. His ability to mirror wide receivers is better than just about anybody in this class, not named Travis Hunter. And then Benjamin Morrison is somebody out of Notre Dame where he got injured last year. He had a hip injury, which is kind of driving down his draft value. But before that, he was being projected as a top 20 pick because of how good his tape is, right? He's a phenomenal man corner that can play in press or off coverage. He can also play in zone if you ask him to do that, but he is phenomenal in man coverage. And if you're a team in the late first round still looking for cornerback help, cough, cough, Los Angeles Rams, cough, cough, Buffalo Bills, I think that Benjamin Morrison is a perfect fit for those types of situations, and I would not be shocked at all if Morrison ends up going in round 1 at some point this year. That'll be it for today's show, guys. I really do appreciate all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button and also check out my first NFL mock draft of the year that I put out just yesterday, where I had 2 running backs go in the top 10 of the NFL draft. So if you want to check that out, click that subscribe button, check out yesterday's video. Until next time, guys, peace out.